My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Good morning, good afternoon, evening, midday, midnight, whatever time of the day you are joining us from. And welcome to what is the first semi-finals of Rotterdam. Yes, this is, I think, this time, first time that me and Zach are back, covering a match since the Australian Open.
We're so back. We've never been more back than we are right now in this very moment, covering what many people are calling a likely match of the year contender.
A likely who said that? I'm curious.
It's been said by so many people I can't even think of who it's been. I will say though, Bellucci is on a heck of a run here, and there's a world in which this ends up being a very spicy match. I mean, can he keep it going? He's got a knack for beating the tall guys. What about the average height king, like the demon here?
Yeah, how's it going to deal with a player that will get a lot back and will get a lot back very consistently? As we're trying to search up other Bellucci's, and we're just coming up with what looks like Italian people. I've never heard of any of these people before, unfortunately.
Monica Bellucci was a Bond girl at one point.
Was she?
Yeah, I don't believe there's any relation, but wouldn't it be neat if there was? People are welcome to fact check us or drop some fun stuff in the comments as they join on. Jake Davies, welcome to the chat. Appreciate you as always jumping in here. Get some buds to watch too. Tennis channel is telling me that we are 2 minutes and 23 seconds away from this thing getting started here.
So you have a timer on Tennis Channel. Just something you mentioned on the WhatsApp, and I was like, "Well, what do you mean? There's a timer."
So
the exact moment they're going to walk out onto court.
I joked that this is cutting edge tech because so much of like the infrastructure around tennis is perhaps a bit rooted in the past. But yes, I am looking at a countdown clock on Tennis Channel. It's got a picture of Alex de Minaur on one side, Mattia Bellucci on the other, and then right in the middle it says days, hours, minutes, seconds. And now we're down to 1:45. Before we get started here, James, what are you watching? Like, if you're Bellucci, what's the strategy? What are the dynamics that folks should be considering as the match is about to get underway?
I think your strategy has to be that you have to remain a high first serve. We know his first serve, his first serve is very good. It can be very lethal at a time, and he's going to have to be averaging probably well into the high 60s, if not the low 70s, on first serve points in to be able to stay consistent throughout the match. I would probably say as well that hitting some depth, keeping the aggression, because he was, de Minaur yesterday didn't exactly, or at least de Minaur in this tournament hasn't exactly looked his sparkling best. But he has been very good at just getting the job done against players who he can really work to make for his opponents to make it their own mistakes and to really fall into the de Minaur trap. And I think there could be, there is certainly an opportunity that if he's able to keep those high serves up, keep the aggression up, that he can remain very competitive in this contest.
Yeah. I think one thing I'll add on, he's just got to improve the quality of his return to serve. And to do so, he's going to have to take some risks. It's not going to work every time, but he's got to apply the pressure. He can't get behind in the point. He can't be the one on defense because he's just not going to be able to win points at a high enough clip unless he's being hyper offensive. The joke that John put in the chat is that shortened points is a lazy take and that he's taking it. I concur. And so he's just got to, he's got to swing for the fences a little bit. He's not going to out consistency de Minaur and win. So he's got to go for it. Let it rip. Grip it and rip it, like the American golfer John Daly.
Let it rip. Let it rip. You know, it's. I do agree there. As I got Jake also talking about Wales, must be talking about the Six Nations rugby, which is going on at the moment. Are you still in? Are you still in South America, Zach? Are you back home?
I'm back home now. It's good to be home. Had an amazing time in Argentina. Wish that I had been there about a month and a half later because the Argentina Open is getting underway soon.
Yeah, they got some pretty good names actually sorted out for the Argentina Open. I know they've paid quite heavy appearance fees for Zverev, Bruno, and Musetti, along with a plethora of Argentinian and Chilean and Brazilian players who love to play that event.
Yeah, I'm liking. By the way, so we're getting the walkout now. I'm liking the headgear on Bellucci big time. It reminds me a little bit of Arnaud Clement, who I think is the last guy I remember wearing the bandana, although he did wear his a little differently.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of like a rock band in the noughties.
You know, that's my favorite era by a million, right? And that I'm a diehard Oasis fan.
Oasis were more the 90s, weren't they? Were they not?
You know what? I in my American brain translated the noughties to the 90s because we don't call it the 2000s, but yes. So the era right before.
The 90s. So you're thinking of the 90s.
Yeah.
No, I mean it was great. I mean the 90s was great for tennis. I mean we had Agassi, we had Sampras. I mean, Monica Seles, the whole job lot that were and of course Steffi Graf in that time period. So if you were a tennis fan in the 90s, you were very well served in that time period.
And bubbling up under the surface, the Williams sisters were about to emerge. We still had some of the holdovers from the 80s. That really was a great era in tennis. What is going on with the mascot here? I'm looking at this walkout, and they've got a ball head and then yellow arms and legs, and that just doesn't make any kind of sense to me.
It's like we want to have like a fluffy looking, cartoony mascot, and the classic thing for tennis to do is go tennis ball. That's what we need.
If they're gonna
tennis ball head.
If they're going to have wacky mascots, they probably need to let the fans cheer during the points. Like it doesn't feel consistent with tennis as it is currently constructed still to me, the mascot stuff they got going on here. But hey, it's I think
it's certainly because it's like, okay, you could not, tennis was majority of the time played in like 20, 30 degrees. You could not be sticking a poor human being in one of those suits in those temperatures. But when you're in an indoor hardcourt and it's you're going to have a placid, probably 15-degree temperature in there, you can probably go, do you know what? We'll stick some guy in the suit, and then they have to be all happy and be all cuddly and yay, look at the mascot as he's holding a ridiculously sized up racket and doing that little thingy symbols with the players.
Can I ask a dumb question here?
Go on.
Is Bellucci is Adidas his sponsor? Because if they are.
He doesn't have one.
Okay, that answers my question. Because he's got the Nike shoes, the Adidas shirt and shorts, and then he's got the bandana, all three which seem to be different makes and manufacturers. So he's Sans sponsor. Interesting.
Yeah, he has no sponsor. I mean, the hope is, of course, after this week that somebody will come and actually sponsor the man so that he can at least have a regular kit. And given the fact of how well he plays, we'd expect to see him certainly as a mainstay main tour player for a while. So you could expect maybe an Asics or a what's the Japanese company called again? Gone from my mind to do rackets as well.
Is it both?
Yonex.
Yonex. Oh, yeah,
Yonex.
Yeah.
There we go. Or Yonex or whoever could, a smaller manufacturer. I mean, I know the Brit Jake Fernley last year didn't have any kit sponsor, and then this year Adidas actually did snap him up to actually wear his kit. So maybe a company like that could rock up to get them signed up.
Remind me, is Jake Fernley a friend of the show?
I don't think he is. I wish he would be, and I think John will work to try and get Jake Fernley as a friend of the show. He does like appearing on New Wave Media, so
there we go.
Fingers crossed we can get him on at one point.
Who would you most like to see become a friend of the show? Any player, any level?
That's a good question. I mean, my absolute idol would be. I know he doesn't play at the moment, he doesn't play anymore, but Andy Murray would be awesome to get as a friend of the show.
Oh yeah, that would be a cool
That
one.
would, if he had any sort of thing about that, and yeah, Cam. Of course, it would also be Cameron Norrie. I mean, we have to get him as a friend of the show. He's prepared to do funny, awkward videos with TCU. He can do funny, awkward videos with us as well.
If we got Goran Ivanisevic to be a friend of the show, I don't think I can say on here without getting in trouble the extent of how happy that would make me. I would lose my mind. That would be a cool one.
Oh, that'd be awesome to get Goran. I mean, he's currently now coachless, so what else is he doing with his time?
Maybe he's looking for a pundit gig. Sorry, my mic is going in and out here a little bit, so I'm trying to adjust that. Yeah, he's got some free time. He should do a stream with us. Goran, if you're listening, I don't want to speak for John, but I'm pretty sure he can make it happen for you if you want to get on.
These are some hard-quitting questions to go right. When you heard about Bukov when you were with Rybakina, how pissed were you?
Question: would you get a beer with that guy? Probably not.
No.
Yeah, like that really is one of the craziest coaching situations, and I feel for Rybakina deeply because I'm such a fan of her, and I know that she is in a seemingly very difficult situation, but at the same time, it's like, you are not making choices that seem to be benefiting your career, and so I hope that she figures it out, and I hope that she's getting wise counsel from people other than Vukov. It seemed like very briefly she was from Goran, and obviously that went the way that it went. Do you think we're going to get resolution there anytime soon?
Probably not. I mean, we know how much of a closed individual Rybakina is, certainly to the media. I think we'll be hearing from sort of second and third hand accounts about that entire episode in years' time before we actually realise what actually took place over the Aussie period, and Rybakina deciding that Bukic should be part back of a team, and then the WTA saying, "Oh hell no, he is not part of your team."
Well, it's just sad because clearly he doesn't care about what's in her best interests, right? He's been provisionally suspended. She had an all-world, highly respected coach, and he wouldn't give Goran the space to operate, right? And so, say Rybakina, tough situation, whatever. Vukov, I just don't think there's anything positive I can say about that guy.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, clearly there's the stuff that has happened. We see what has happened. We see on the camera how aggressive and how negative and how controlling it can almost be for him in the players' box towards Elena. Move that on to what we don't see. That's probably that will only be part of what we see. And then behind the scenes there'll be other stuff as well.
Kind of a fun fact, though. So my parents were actually at that Jabor Rybakina match. They're doing a little bit of travel right now. They just happened to be in the area, popped on by, and they said it was absolutely electric. James, we're in for a fun one today because we got a very special friend of the show in the chat here. Ghost of Garolitis is in the mix.
Ghost is raring to go. We have no relevance against Vukov, but man, I would like to alert. I would be on alert around that dude. Yeah. Well, clearly the WTA have enough evidence, especially to provisionally suspend him. But yeah, we don't know publicly what that evidence is yet.
Yeah. I know this is like not really tennis related, but I also I see the tats peeking out of the shirt for Bellucci, and it's a great look. It doesn't look like they're quite done, and so hopefully if he gets this sponsor deal, maybe he can pop a little more cash into getting those touched up.
Maybe get some arm sleeves in the process.
He doesn't have a sponsor. He doesn't even have his sleeves done. Come on, somebody step up, get this man some cash.
I mean, how much money is he actually? I'm actually quite curious. How much money is he taking home this week already, just from getting to the semis? Which, I mean, we must say the run that guy has had this week. Yeah. From qualifying for the event first of all, which he had a bit of a short turnaround actually because he played quite late. I think on Thursday again, Wednesday. I think it was Thursday actually in Montpellier. So then get over to Rotterdam, win both qualifying matches on Saturday and Sunday. and then to be able to then beat both Daniel Medvedev in quite a strong 3-set match, and then to follow that up by beating Stefano Tsitsipas.
Yep.
I mean, geez, man. Okay, so got it here. So in euros, he'll be picking up
really quickly before we get to that. Just want to say we got the match is getting underway here.
It is,
as it is. Sorry, what was that number for how much he's bringing home?
He's already bringing home 128,785 euros.
That's not a bad week. Okay.
No, so that's in UK money. That's certainly close to 110, 105 in terms of thousands of pounds. I mean, if I made that money playing 3 matches in a space span of a week, I'll be very happy.
So Ghost has asked if we've discussed Dallas yet, and we have not. We certainly will have to get into the battle for America that took place last night between Tommy Paul and Riley Opelka. Look, I know that Riley Opelka has an all-world serve, and everyone's like, oh, if he gets the rest of his game together, that serve, he can do damage. Against a player like Tommy Paul, I think it's really clear that it just ain't happening. The guy moves. Yeah, he moves like he's 6'10", and I mean that in a not in a complimentary fashion. He just
is it that classic? The big guy can't move. It's almost
yes. So Peter Crouch, who moved well for a big man, that is not Riley Opelka. He moves like a big man. Oh, to Minaur with an amazing backhand winner to go up 30 love there. Very saucy shot. Tommy Paul does look locked in.
You are ahead of me.
Oh, sorry.
By like 5 seconds, I think 5-10 seconds.
I'm gonna just pause my stream and get back to it.
There we go. Hopefully, we should now be somewhat on a similar. Thanks for that, by the way.
Sure. I've got Minaur about to serve here. Are we linked up?
Yeah, he's just bounced the ball in his racket, bounced the ball with his hands into his racket, and up in the air goes down the tee.
Bellucci has a really interesting backhand. And when I say interesting, I mean, it doesn't appear based on the stats that we saw at the beginning of the match that it's particularly effective. In fact, it is well below tour average. And I'm trying to think of what player comp is the most similar. Whose technique would you say that backhand resembles? Is there anybody that jumps out to you?
I'm just going to quickly see if we can get a rally here where I can see the backhand a bit more. Ooh, okay.
It's a bit like Nori, is it not?
A bit. I was going to say also Iga.
Oh, interesting comp.
It's a bit like Iga's backhand.
I see it. It is. That lefty forehand looks pretty saucy.
Oh, look at the movement he's putting. Oh, he's going for a tweener winner. He's got
a little flair there, a little showmanship from the young Italian.
You love 40 down on your opponent's serve. You might as well go for the tennis TV highlight.
Oh, did he miss that? I thought that. Oh, it looks like he may have missed.
No, he made it.
Oh, he made it. You're right.
Oh, thank God.
That would have been an unfortunate but very cool miss.
Oh, look at that again. And he jumped as well. Oh,
incredible.
My God.
Incredible.
Shot the match already. Shot the tournament. Just because it's the audacity.
That reminds me that a lot of people did predict that this could be the a match of the year contender. Oh, boy. We're getting some nice extended rallies to start.
Good backhand. An hour. Yeah, I think we're in for a good one here.
Multiple backhand winners in the first game. I think, he has not been playing his finest tennis from what I've seen so far, but his level is looking very, very good through that first game. I mean, minus an incredible extended rally capped off by a tweener approach shot winner. He looked very, very much in control. Now let's see if the young Italian...
get another shot of the tweener.
Oh, yeah.
Bellucci.
Tennis group chats around the world are going to go nuts with that clip. That is going to be mega viral. I think that this youngster is coming out of this tournament with a sponsor. Yeah.
I'm going to try and start one as well. I just love Bellucci, by the way.
You can't be that handsome and have that kind of flair and have this result and then not get a sponsor out of it. I mean, I guess you can, but somebody's going to snap him up, I think.
There we go. Short backswing, but for me, it's a bit more calm. Yeah, it is a bit more Cam, except Cam can be. I still think Cam's still the very much more stiffer. Oh, good serve. That's what I'm talking about from Bellucci.
Yeah.
He needs to make sure that he gets high first serve percentages in and makes the lines. It's a tough ask. You know, Minaur is a tough opponent, but it is possible.
Okay, let's see if he can keep up that point of making the first serve at a high clip here. And I think, are those the Vapor Zooms that he's rocking? If so, great shoes.
Your shoe knowledge will be a damn sight better than mine.
So I don't know a ton about the shoes. I have strong opinions on the shoe laces, though, and that
Okay.
I love Asics as a product. I think they make an excellent tennis shoe. Not only do I think that, many of the top players who know far better than me think that. I think that they have some of the worst laces in the game, though. So whenever I buy a pair of Asics, I go to the shoe doctor Zach and see what laces he's recommending, and then I'll swap out the Asics laces for those. Little pro tip for folks that also feel like the Asics laces leave room to be desired. Bellucci cruising here, looking good.
Yeah. I can see that Ghost. You're asking for a Bentich Kruger update. I've got it on my other screen. I can see that Kruger won the first set 6-4, but Belinda is 1-love up and an early breakup in the second set in her match in that final in Abu Dhabi.
And so I see in the chat that Sisiemi has bet on de Minaur to win the first set. I mean, look, the odds are with you. That should be the statistically safe bet. I don't know what odds you got. But then again, that's been true the previous two matches for Bellucci, and he's performed. I'd feel pretty good about the bet. I think if I was betting, I would be with de Minaur. I'm going to say in straights.
Yeah.
I hope we get 3, but that's what the math says is the most likely thing coming into this tournament.
What was that app? I'm just watching it through Sky Go through in the UK. I don't know how. I mean, I guess in you guys because you're US based will be Tennis Channel or something like that. I suspect Tennis Channel has the Abu Dhabi final. Does it, Zach?
Yes. I would also say, Ghost, if you're having a hard time. Ooh, nice backhand from de Minaur.
Yeah.
Finding something. I recently invested in a VPN for the Australian Open. I just couldn't get it anywhere in Argentina. Got the VPN, without getting any specifics. You can sort of figure it out from there, and you can find a way to get that stream. Oh, the Shoelace app. So it's not an app. It's a YouTube channel. It's Dr. Zach, or the Foot Doctor. Just gives good recommendations on shoes, laces, all kinds of anything to do with your feet. Pretty helpful. A lot of my tennis buds also enjoy. Okay, we're back at 30-30. This is no longer an easy game of service.
Yeah, Bellucci's kind of being squeezed here. Although cross court. Jaw, get good. Get it.
What a pickup there. Somebody in the chat mentioned that he loves McEnroe and he loves McEnroe's game. Dare I say that half volley was McEnroe-esque?
I mean, that's had to be pinpoint perfect as well. I mean, that could go completely wrong, and it just did it beautifully.
Oh, yeah. And yes, Ghost, it is Dr. Zach, spelled incorrectly generally, but correctly technically for him. And K-Swiss also makes a fine shoe, especially if you've got wide feet. Bellucci serve. It's a real weapon.
It is a real weapon. It gives him a lot of 3 points. And then he hits the net.
Hey, that's a shot that the recreational player can hit.
Oh, just so many times when that happens, I feel like saying to the player, look, just let the ball bounce and then go for it.
So interesting technique on that overhead. So he put a little bit of slice on it, and actually quite a bit of slice on it, probably more than he needed to. You don't see a lot of guys. They tend to go more for the flat overhead. That was more hook than I would have expected, but it's also consistent with his first serve, which, while it's got pace, certainly has a heavy dose of slice on it.
A little bit of a whack out. Yeah, exactly me. Let the damn ball bounce. It was like yesterday with the have you been able to what have you caught from Rotterdam this week, Zach?
So I'm not gonna lie, very little. It's been a bit hectic with work since I got back. Working abroad is wonderful, but I was behind on a thing or two. So I've certainly been following the results. one thing that I don't want to say I feel sad about, but I don't feel good about. Tsitsipas, say what you will about him, such a talent, right? And just never maximize. Oh, we got our first.
No, I got it wrong.
Wasted.
That was game point there. Yeah, for some reason I thought that was break point Minaur as well, but no, it was game point Bellucci. So we're back to Deuce. Sorry, Zach, carry on.
Yeah, so at Deuce here, Bellucci serving. Yeah, I just think Tsitsipas, a lot of what could have been questions for him. So that was my immediate thought about his result, especially after Australia, where he flamed out early. Oh, another break point coming up here.
I mean, he had a good win in the second round, and I was quite impressed with him, his ability to beat Talon Grigspor, because Grigspor's a nightmare in indoor hard courts. I think I saw a stat somewhere that says he's won the only person to win more indoor matches since the start of last year than him was Yannick Sinner.
Interesting.
So Talon knows his way around an indoor hard court like nobody's business, really.
By the way, 221 on that lefty serve. He missed it, but 221 lefty.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, it was what was I saying? Yeah, so for Tsitsipas to then lose in the quarters, especially when if he wants to have a serious stab at this season, which given the quotes we've had from him, I'm not hopeful for. You need to really get through a match against a qualifier, regardless of how well they're playing.
That's a bad double, by the way, from the young qualifier. I mean, look, there's no such thing as a good double, but on a break point in your first service game against the seeded player, that's a particularly bad one. Yeah, so we with the big three and the big four to some extent, sort of extending their careers as much as they did. I think, and then also, you got you got Monfils, you got Wawrinka, you've got a few other guys who have managed to just play well into their 30s and in some cases their late 30s. But that is not the historical norm. And so you look at Medvedev struggling, you look at Tsitsipas struggling, and at the end of the day, they're entering their late 20s. I don't know that we're going to see them in the top 20 until they're 33, 34. This, and I'm not rooting for it or wishing for it, but their time on the tour might be a little bit shorter than we expect, or than we've come to expect over the past few years, and that would be a return to historical norms. Something to keep an eye on. There have been so many advances in terms of what players can do to maintain their health and prolong their careers, but we might have just lived through a fluke with that generation previous.
I don't necessarily think we lived through. Certainly 3/4 of those players were absolutely generational talents that, as you say, were able to play Grand Slam winning tennis into their mid 30s, which is astonishing to think about. I mean, I think we are seeing just generally the state of longevity of athletes increasing. Because not only do we see it in tennis, we see it in all sports like football, Formula One, rugby. There's a load of other, probably there's American sports as well, like baseball and American football. I mean, I think Tom Brady played until top level American football until he was in his early 40s, didn't he?
The generational guys, yes. The ones who are able to pump millions of dollars into their bodies, yes.
So we've had, okay, James, what helps you sleep at night? I always think there was a big four. I'm going to get stick from people in the chat about it, but I'm trying to be diplomatic about about it, just in case we get anyone go, no, it was a big three. Murray was never in a big four. Yada 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 yada. He wasn't a big four. Big four did exist. Suck it up. There we go. So yeah, what was I saying? I've kind of lost my train of thought there. But we're seeing players play much longer into their careers in tennis, as you say. Monfils is still able to beat the world number 4 in Grand Slams. That shows it, and he's going to be 39 this year. Federer was able to win. One of his last Grand Slam when he was 36. Nadal 36. I mean, we're seeing this all the times. And we're seeing this a lot more often of players being able to extend their careers a lot longer into the night. But
yeah,
the issue I think we've got with the generation that, as we talk about, and it's the big, and it feels as though this is going to be the year where we're going to see that change, where those players that kind of acted as though, well, we just need to wait for Djokovic and Nadal to basically F off, You know, once they've gone, we're going to be picking up the grandstands galore. They're finding out pretty quickly that actually you don't do it when you are at the top of the game. Others will come along, like we've seen with Sinner and Alcaraz, like we're seeing with other players, you know, that are of a similar age to them, and our players that are younger than them are actually now coming along and regularly beating them. And somebody like Tsitsipas, I've already predicted, I think he's going to lead the top 20 this year. I'll be very surprised. I don't think, you know, and don't mean this to be flippant, but I don't think he can scam another Monte Carlo title just to keep him in the top 20. You know, there are just too many good players in his way. I mean, I could eat my words here, and somebody could clip this, and then he could win Monte Carlo all the time. What's that?
Oh my goodness! Yeah. What a point! What a point there. Sorry. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think also, like, if you're in your late 20s, you've made millions upon millions of dollars. You've got a long-term partner. Do you have the motivation to go to continue traveling around the world just to lose in the quarterfinals? You know, over and over and over again. And for some players, they love tennis that much, and they absolutely, you know, Andy Murray, he loves tennis. He just kept grinding it out, you know, well past the point anybody would have expected him. Monfils loves to perform, loves to play tennis. You know, Wawrinka, I'm not sure that Tsitsipas has that in him the same way that those players do. And honestly, I don't think this is a pretty exciting thing to say. He isn't as talented as they were. And so, you know, if you don't have the love for it and you don't have that extra ounce of talent, you know, what's the point?
I think it's a weird one, because I think he probably has the same amount of talent as those people when you were comparing him when he broke onto the scene at 18. He just never developed on that talent. And that, you know, he was happy to have the major weakness being his backhand. He was happy to have one of his major weaknesses being his mentality. He never worked on either of those two things in that period of time when you need to be working on those bits. And what Djokovic, Nadal, Federer, Murray, you know, as we saw, Alcaraz, Sinner, they did work on those elements of their game to make sure that they were the best they could possibly be, and then they won the big titles because of it. You know, all that Tsitsipas will be remembered for is being 2 sets to love up against Djokovic in the French Open final, and then basically losing it from there. That's the closest he is ever going to get to winning them. And for him, that must be quite heartbreaking to think that the biggest moment of his career came 4 years ago when he was in his early 20s, and unless some freak draw opens up at the French Open this year that he's able to walk straight through, he will never get close to that ever again.
Yeah, you know, so let's see if Bellucci can get on the board here. He's got another game point at 40-30. You know, de Minaur missed an uncharacteristic backhand slice, kind of a weak attempt, and so he easily could have been up a break had things gone a little differently. Clear, you know, in the chat we've seen some questions. Is this nerves? What's happening? Sometimes you go on a hot streak and then you come back to earth, and so it might be.
It's the classic. It's game styles.
Yeah.
He played two players over the. He played two players who weren't really playing that well, who made a lot of mistakes, and actually, in the case of Medvedev, was just way too passive in his match, and that's something we could probably touch along and talk about Medvedev. Is that he has become way too passive in his own game.
Yes.
And there's not enough aggression, and Bellucci was able to basically run all over him. However, you've got Alex de Minaur here who gets everything back and is aggressive. Hey, presto, we're seeing what we're seeing at the moment.
You know, Medvedev is another one where I have more faith in his ability to find it again and to get it back far more than Tsitsipas. But it does seem like you're right. He is the one holding himself back because he just needs to generate a touch more offense. He just needs to do a little bit more to force the action. And he's got the shots to do it, but it doesn't seem that he trusts them. He's reverting back to that hyper defensive style. And against some matchups, that's just not going to get it done. You look at a Lerner Tien, right? For example, my guy, you know, the future member of the next big three, by the way, with Alcaraz and Sinner. Many people are saying that too. And he just could not take the action. Tien, it's not like he crushes the ball. You know, he's a savvy player who's ultra consistent and has great technique as well. And so Medvedev, I think, should have
the placement. Tien can put on the ball. Sorry to interrupt you on that, but I am astonished that somebody that age can place the ball exactly where he wants it 99% of the time. it's bloody brilliant. Sorry, but carry on.
Ooh, bad miss on the overhead there from Minaur. I actually, I made this comp kind of in semi in jest that he was the best sub 6 foot American lefty who'd spent time on the West Coast since McEnroe, just with, you know, a gazillion qualifiers there. But when you talk about that placement and that touch, you know, McEnroe's game, it was not a game meant to overpower. It really was, you know, feel based. And Tien, he is such a feel based player, so much touch. He can place the ball anywhere. And that is not the American style, especially in a post Andy Roddick world where it's like big first flat serve, big kick serve, massive forehand, liability of a backhand. And so he really sticks out.
No, he
Tiafo, I think, someone who kind of, you know, for example, Fritz for somewhat.
Well, if as you were saying about Medvedev, I mean, he's made the choice. I mean, there was an interesting video I watched today. It was about the tennis balls and the fact that a lot of players are noticing they're slowing down quite quickly as they're playing with them, and it is notable how, if you look at when Medvedev was at the top of his, you know, peak of his powers in 21, 22, the balls were going through the air so quickly that any counter punch that he did was basically had so much pace and so much aggression on it that it really upskittled his opponents. Whereas he does the same thing now, and actually it's quite a slow ball that goes back to their opponent, and the opponent can start, you know, dictating from the rallies very quickly, and that's what we've seen, you know, certainly in the last 12 months, really 12 to 14 months from players. But that, you know, that's the games that we've seen that against Medvedev, and maybe the balls have partly played a factor with that. As we say, he's going to have to become much more aggressive. He's going to have to be on the counter. He's going to counter more. You know, what he did for the first 2 sets against Sinner at the Australian Open last year, that's what he's going to have to do the majority of the time if he's going to want to be a factor at the top of the game, or a factor at the back end and the deep end of slams anymore.
Absolutely. I think I need to hone in on a new phrase that I've just learned. Can you upskittled? Could you tell me what is upskittled? That is a phrase that is not a word that has not made its way over to the States.
Upskittled. It's I think it's just like, you know, when you throw a bowling ball and you hit the skittles and it throws them up everywhere. You know.
I love it.
Yeah.
Look at this transatlantic dialogue happening. New phrases being learned. I'll see if I can drop one on you. Although
I think another one is like upset the apple cart, but upskittled is also a word that, you know, you're basically sticking some like a ball, like something into something that's already organized, and it's pushed it all everywhere.
Going back to Ghost's comment for a second in the chat, that he likes Tien's icy demeanor. He's got the focus of winners like Sinner, Fed, and Sampras. He's right. I mean, Tien is so young, but he has a maturity far beyond his years. He's got a tennis IQ that's off the charts. You know, I think he does not have the same physical gifts as some of these other kind of top prospects that we've seen over the years. But look, you know, maybe it's not just the physical gifts that win you a tennis match, right? His mental game might be so strong that he can fully break through and go to that next level. Will be really, really interesting to see how his career progresses. While we're on a change over here, I want to talk about an interview that I saw with Arthur Cazot recently about how much of the money they actually bring home. Did you see this?
No, but I've seen something to do with what's the word I'm trying to find. I've seen something to do with percentage amounts that tennis players get compared to other sports.
So for starters, in tennis, the players take home about 17% of all the money circulating around the professional level. In football, soccer for our American listeners, it's over 60%. In the NBA, in the NFL, and basketball, it's over 50%. Most professional sports, the absolute floor for which a player is taking home is 40. Now, the individual sports are lower, so golf is another example of this. And every single time I get on one of these streams, I'm not going to get off until I complain about this, but the redundancy of governing bodies and the inability of the players to have a strong union is holding the game back. You know, the fact that players, they've got to deal with the majors, which is its own governing body. They've got to deal with the national federations, the international federations, the regional federations, the state federations, depending on the level they're playing at, you know, the junior level, the top level. There are redundancies run amok in tennis. And how do I know that? the money isn't getting to the players. And so, look, as the fans, it's easy to not be particularly sympathetic that a 22-year-old millionaire isn't making more money. But at the same time, the product is suffering because of the inefficiencies. There are great players that are never going to get an opportunity to break through or won't have the same opportunities to break through because this money is just getting stuck in bureaucracy and middle management. And hey, for my day job, I do a lot of middle management, sometimes in a bureaucracy. It's not like it's all bad, but we simply have to be more efficient. We simply have to get the players more for their contributions because they are not being compensated at a market rate at all.
It's a tough one, really, because it's, as you say, it's the individual sport element. You know, you look at football, that's a team sport. You get 30-odd players, you know, in a team that make a ton of money because that one team wins the championship, whereas only one player out of 128 of the best players in the world win a Grand Slam once every 4 years. It is tough, but as you say, golf being quite a low amount. I know darts is on its way up, but that's an individual sport which doesn't necessarily make as much money as all the other sports. And
we're classifying darts as a sport, not a hobby. Interesting.
I've recently got into darts quite a lot, so I'm definitely calling that sport.
Can you have a beer and play the same?
Probably not. You should actually go onto the hockey sober to make sure you actually know what you're doing.
There's a fantastic Mitchell and Webb sketch where they're darts commentators. Are you familiar?
I think I saw one where like they actually had a weight thing where they had the guy went below a certain weight because they always say they're obese. A guy, one of the darts players went below a certain weight, ended up getting like dizzy and couldn't hit the board. Shove him with like a pie or something to get his weight back up. And he was okay, and then was throwing like triple 20s all the time.
They have a whole series, and every single one starts with, "Oh, and that's a bad." No, you know what? It's snooker. It's snooker is that's a bad miss, but they also do some great darts related humor. Okay, we got a nice rally here, extended rally, but Bellucci misses a challenging ball, but nonetheless, Minaur's got a break point and is fully in cruise control here.
Yeah, he is. James, anyone below like 200 is struggling to stay on tour, and that's what I mean in terms of, and that's what I mean in terms of where I agree that there needs to be more money spread out. 70% for players compared to the amount of money that's earned in tennis is too low. But we need to make sure that it isn't just going to be a Nick Kyrgios type situation where all the money just goes to the 20 best players in the world.
James, I thought that
and actually we need challenger players, future players. They need to be getting the income just as much as Djokovic and Kyrgios and whatnot.
I thought that he was saying that darts players under 200 pounds couldn't stay on tour, which is why I was laughing. But it applies there as well as in tennis. It's so true. I mean, these guys or these players, they're just grinding it out. And some countries have national federations that offer more to those players. On a break point. On a break point, the tweener.
The Minaur takes it anyway.
Yeah. That was fun. That was showy, but that was a not good tennis decision. Hey, can you explain the Nick Kyrgios situation reference? That was
it's because he's said on multiple occasions that about tennis players not getting paid enough, but all he wants is the ability for him to make more money, and that anyone who's on the challenger circuit or on the future circuit can get stuffed. In his opinion, if there was some sort of super league for tennis players where there's only like 10 tennis, what was being touted as that breakaway league that the Saudis could have set up a few years back, he would have been well on board with that, because although he would be able to make a ton of money, only play a few matches a year, and that they'd be the only players that would play them, be no risk or reward about being able to lose or gain ranking positions or anything like that.
Minaur is just cruising here. And, a thing that you talked about early on, Bellucci needed to just really be firing on that first serve. And I don't know exactly. 55%. It just is not going to cut it. He's got to have, one of the best serving performances of his life. And it's safe to say that he is not. I would also say, Ghost, that darts, perhaps that is true. I would argue that in poker, that could be true. Although I also consider that more of a hobby or activity than a sport. And in golf, I'm going to say. You can gain a competitive edge.
I saw recently. I watched this sort of like indoor golf tournament they had with Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy.
Oh,
it was like this indoor arena where like there was basically like a digital, like almost like those digital games where like they hit the ball and it hits the screen, and then they're able to judge speed, speed, direction, all that sort of stuff. And then on the computer, it goes a certain distance, a bit like on a video game. And then once they got to the putting green, there was an actual putting green in the next to them. That it would symbolize hit going on to, and then they would do the normal putting, and then everyone around could see. It looked really cool, to be honest. I quite like. I watched
that is pretty neat. That was a bad miss from Minaur on that volley there, by the way. And so Bellucci, it's 15-30. In all likelihood, it would just be a real shock for him to win this set, but maybe he can steal a break back, get that confidence, cut the gap down a little bit, and then make set 2 a little bit more competitive. Although I got to tell you, I think we're cruising towards a fast one here, unless something meaningful changes.
Yeah. I will say, Ghost, I know you keep making fun about darts players, and I get their easy jokes to make. But if you get a chance, next Thursday, it'll cost on BDC TV, it'll cost you $2 or $3 Go watch the Premier League for one of the nights where they've got the eight best players in the world. And then you'll really enjoy it. You'll really enjoy it.
A couple of years back, there were like all these stories that made their way across the pond about this like 16-year-old kid who was a darts prodigy. Is he still doing it?
Yeah, he won the World Championship last month.
How old? Well, okay, so look, it's
when he was
5-1, it's 30-all. This is I believe that in the interest of entertainment, we should talk about this darts youngster, and let's get a set point here. So tell us a little bit about Luke. What's his name?
Luke Littler.
Luke Littler. Luke Littler or Luke Littler? Littler.
Yeah. I'm probably saying it in the most English way possible. Littler. Luke Littler. He's been an absolute revelation on the tour. He's won. Before the World Championships last year, he won 3 out of the 9.
Ghost is just relentless, by the way, in the chat with his jokes. They're so good. we got a set point here, and then back to Luke Littler in a moment.
He best players in the world, and all the lunch should be manager lorries.
That is such a specific insult. It's so good. And there's the set.
There's the set to Minaur. Speaking of somebody who is not unloading lorries in Hull, it is unloading sets in Rotterdam instead. Funny.
That's a great segue, James. I love it.
Bizarrely enough, actually, between Hull and Rotterdam is actually quite a popular ferry route in Europe.
Is that true?
Yes, there's a lot of trade that goes between Hull and Rotterdam with lots of ferries and cargo ships and whatnot.
Okay.
That's a little fun fact.
Yeah, that's a fun fact.
Yeah, like I was saying, Luke. He won the Premier League, which is a big event at the start of the year. He won the World Series of Darts. He won a load of smaller PDC titles. He also won the Grand Slam of Darts, which is the month before the World Championships. And then last year, he was able to go one better than the year before and actually win the World Championships. Being the youngest player ever to do so at the age of 17. So 17 years of age. And he's recently turned 18. And he is on top of the world. He's world number 2. Only Luke Humphries is ranked higher than him, and probably the only player that can usually day-to-day beat him, I would say. And it's really shot up.
Can we pull up a picture of this youngster? Because the picture I saw of him when he was 15 or 16, he looked like he was 41. It was incredible.
This is where we're going to test John's ability to find a photo. I'm sure he'll get it up on the screen.
I think the thing that I love so much about talking tennis is this is so much more than just a watch along. This is so much more than just a tennis podcast. This is a fandom podcast. We're not going to get put in a box, okay? Anything could happen. We could talk about an 18-year-old darts player. It's electric.
Let me see if I can get him up.
I'm so excited for this. We got Ghost making pasta, listening in. Ghost, when you get back, if it's a good recipe, drop it in the chat. But also, I'd like to know specifically what type of pasta.
Give me a
And if
tip,
everybody
no.
plays their cards right and is active in the chat, I might even drop my wife's buffalo chicken dip recipe that she's making for the Super Bowl tomorrow in the chat. I don't know.
There we go. You see him?
My God. That is peak male performance right there. And I don't care if people don't like it. We are underway in set 2. That's an 18-year-old.
That's 18.
Can I say something that I don't mean to be unkind, but I do believe is accurate and maybe a touch unkind? He looks a bit like a sentient ham.
Sentient ham.
Just a bit.
Oh. No, it's but yeah, not to say because I don't want to lose viewers. I'm just telling you talking darts because but no, he's done really well, and there's other great players like I said, Luke Humphreys, Michael Van Gerwen, still at the top of the game, the Green Machine, Mighty Mike, and other players like Rob Cross, Stephen Bunting, the people's champion, Stephen Bunting.
Not a lot of polls in the darts world, are there? You think with
there's one that's ranked in around about 30 in the world.
Yeah.
But I can't pronounce his name, and I know Damien will kill me for saying that. But yeah, there is one, but the majority of the darts players do tend to come from either the UK or from the Netherlands. They tend to be the two major areas. But there's an American player called Bates who really stole the first week of the World Championships because of his dancing when he walked onto stage. And there's a Canadian called Campbell who's really good as well. And you've got Damon Hetta from Australia.
Okay. Hey, we got Bellucci looking a little okay. That was a very, very aggressive second serve miss that Bellucci hit there. But he looks like he's coming in hot, right? He's off to a slightly more interesting start than he was in the first. I wonder if we will see a different player in set 2. While I love the tweeners and the flair, he should play smarter tennis here. Okay. Fantastic backhand winner return there. Holy moly.
Oh, okay. So what was meant to be quite a straightforward service hold for Bellucci is now turned into a little bit more of a trickier one.
God, that is. I mean, the inside-out backhand return winner on a massive serve is. That's just incredible. I feel so lucky.
Just to give a score update from Abu Dhabi, Belinda Bencic has taken the second set 6-1, so they are into a decider.
Okay. We got a good one happening in Abu Dhabi. Look at that second serve there from Bellucci, by the way.
Oh, slices it. Smashes it. Nearly hits.
Oh, wow.
Nearly hits De Minaur's bum.
We used all the court for that one. Little less margin than I think he intended. Okay, so listen. I think he's already matched his game count in set 1. So all he can do is go up from here. I think we're gonna get. I think that Damon Minaur is going like 6-3 or 6-4.
The only way is up. I mean, from losing the first set 6-1, the only way really is up at that stage.
I think we're gonna get like a 6-3 or 6-4 set from Damon Minaur with, I don't know, some exciting points.
Oh, both players haven't realistically been in attack though. The tour average is 24, and they've only been averaging 15-16%. It's been a pretty cagey match. Then is the best way to describe it. Looking at those numbers,
Damon Minaur can absolutely win decisively against anyone outside the top 10. Essentially playing that way, I just don't see any world in which Bellucci can win this match without that number probably doubling almost.
Well, I hope Bellucci can at least make this set a bit more competitive, just because for the fans, and because I always like looking up ticket sessions and systems and whatnot. This is the only singles. So today is split into two separate categories. You've got the day session and the night session. This is the day session, so you only get one doubles match and one singles match. So if this is a bit of a bummer, then the fans won't necessarily be happy, given the fact that this is a big match for today, unless they bought a night session ticket as well.
Yeah. And also it's like, and they didn't get to see Alcaraz. It's and so while I think, hey, what a run for Bellucci, I'm sure him and his team are thrilled. If you're a fan, most would probably prefer to see Medvedev or Tsitsipas playing in this match. So Hopefully, he can give the fan their money's worth
It's
here.
it's one of those things where, like, as a, we love watching a story of a player, a player, coming from qualifying or a low rank player really taking it to the big guns.
Yeah.
But as a fan, when you look at the draw and you think, oh, we could get Medvedev versus Minaur, or we could get Artefis versus Stefanos Tsitsipas or anything like that, and then you end up with, okay, one of the players you'd expect, which is Minaur, but then another player you did not expect. It can feel a bit of a, as you say, a bit of a bummer, really.
A thing that we have not talked about yet. So Minaur had an awful serving first set. Horrific. 29% first serve percentage. That's a joke. That is not tour caliber percentage. And so in all likelihood, he is going to serve drastically better here in set 2. And so even if Bellucci makes those adjustments and de Minaur just kind of returns to median or mean level service games, you've just got to like his chances here. I'm with you, by the way. If you're watching on TV and it's a wild card, hey, great. All you got to, you can even throw up another stream while you're watching it, so no big deal. But when you're going in person, you typically want to see the names and or the higher ranked players, unless it's a situation in which you're seeing a Lerner Tien, a Darwin Blanche is a name to keep an eye out for.
Almost, like you say, it's a young upstart, like a Yao Fonseca as well. I mean, if you got Yao Fonseca against de Minaur, you'd be like, yeah, give me that. That sounds brilliant.
Injected into my veins at that point.
Or of course, the other thing is if it's a home nation player. So if in the Netherlands, if it was Talon Grigspor or Botic van der Zandschot against de Minaur, then you'd be pretty pleased that that's the match you're gonna be able to see.
Like I saw Christopher Eubanks play in Winston-Salem, right? And there were players there that were more highly rated. But everybody wanted to see Chris Eubanks because, hey, he's the hometown guy or the home country guy, fun player, and so there are exceptions. But when you're an Italian playing in Rotterdam, it doesn't bring in the fans that way.
Unless you're Yannick Sinner.
Jake, I'm glad that we're doing a great job selling this match. We can do more darts. I was learning all this, all these new players, all these new things from James. This is good stuff.
Yeah, no, Premier League, give that a watch. It's a very good thing to introduce you to darts because it's just one night, very quick matches, but very high quality matches because you get the best players in the world. It's a really great way to introduce you to darts if you want to have a watch of it.
I will say, in all seriousness, now not trying to go back into sell mode, Bellucci does have a natural flair, and he moves very, very well. He's had some great gets, some kind of squash shot gets. He's obviously broken out the tweeners a couple times. And so you can tell he's an entertainer. I think he's somebody who I certainly wouldn't put him in that, Yao Fonseca prospect category, but he's somebody who could absolutely have a career on the tour, a long one where he makes a run a couple times and he will be fun to watch. I don't believe that we have a spiritual successor to Monfils at this point. And I really desperately want one. Someone who's creative and athletic and, maybe doesn't always make the best tennis choices on the court, but is fun to watch, is having fun out there. And, hey, maybe Bellucci could, to some extent, step into that role if he continues to progress and continues to show the level that he has at this tournament.
No, I agree. It's, we see it. And, of course, the big thing is, okay, you've had your big breakthrough here, but how many times have we seen other qualifiers or low-ranked players have a big week somewhere?
Yeah.
Look as though they could be a world beater and then go missing for the next 12 months.
Like Emma Raducanu.
Oh, hang on, Zach. Let's be fair here, lad. Let's be fair. It's a bit like that Roy Hodgson gif. Like you're taking the piss. Like,
I got to keep you on your toes a little bit here. Got to keep you on your toes.
No, but like I'm thinking about a player we could think about from last week, who got to the final in Montpellier, Kovacevic. Looked like an absolute world beater for that week. Loses first round this week. How is he going to do in the next few tournaments that he's going to enter? Is he going to produce the same sort of level? Because we see it a good amount of times, and we want to make sure that. Well, I say we want to make sure that, are we going to see runs like this every week from Bellucci and he's going to become a top player?
And that is bad luck for the challenger there. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. You know, he's putting an admirable effort in set 2 here. Wait. Oh, I completely misread that. That was not bad luck from the challenger. That was a double hit from Minaur. He is 30 all.
Yeah. Update from Abu Dhabi. Belinda Bencic is a break up early in her match early. She's 2-love up at the moment.
Ghost is slinging heat today in the chat. Bellucci, huge serve there. Holy moly. He's got weapons. I mean, he's got the foundation to be a top 20, top 30 player. But as you pointed out, you know, and this is one of the things that's great about tennis, but it's hard about tennis. There's a whole lot of players with the weapons and the foundation.
Oh, that backhand. I love that. I absolutely love that. That backhand was brilliant from Minaur.
Yeah, he just cranked that thing.
Yeah. Jake,
that's a great serve. It's a great serve. Tiny margin for him to work with, and he just hit it.
Yeah. Jake, you're asking, as if pretty asked, how am I working week? It was okay. I've been ill this week, so I've kind of been on like autopilot, just trying to get through my, you know, I'm a teacher, so just trying to get through my lessons with observing as much energy as possible, whilst also trying to at least keep management. And that was a great smash there.
Whoa. What a point. What, as we've got a break point here, James, what subject do you teach?
I teach mainly travel and tourism and a bit of business.
Oh, very cool.
Them are two things. So, but I did a first aid course this week, so I now know how to do the recovery position. I know how to do CPR, how to use a shocking machine. I've forgotten what it's called, an AED machine, and how to deal with burns and cuts and bandage repairs and all sorts.
Oh, you're a handy guy to go on vacation with. You know the industry and the business, and you can save somebody's life if something weird happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do blood that well, so it would be interesting if there was somebody that actually does bleed. So we'll see.
That's a bad miss from Bellucci there.
That is. And speaking of the bleeding, we can see that at the moment Bellucci is bleeding service games to Minaur.
That was an incredible transition. Well done, my friend. Ghost, to your question, do we think that Monfils will get another? Yes, because he gets one every year. I don't know how he does it. He gets every year that he's on the tour, he gets one. I believe at one point, and it might still be ongoing, he had the longest streak for most years with the tour level tournament one, and a bunch of them were 250s, but he will always find a way to go on a heater.
It's remarkable, actually, because like his stop.
He already got his this year. He already won Adelaide, right?
Auckland, yeah. But I remember 2 years ago, it was by no form whatsoever. Went to Stockholm and somehow won it, and I was like, "Whoa, what's happened here?"
He plays with joy, and you know what crowd is going to be against Monfils at this stage of his career, and so I would say that he has built and earned that advantage. But to be clear, he's got that advantage, and he knows how to utilize it and use it as well as any player. You know, when he does the thing where like you can tell he's tired, and he'll be pulling his shorts up between points and kind of like hobbling to the baseline while gassing the crowd up with a little bit of this. Nobody's better at getting the fans into it, and he can harness that energy. It's like he just has a special connection with the crowd.
Oh, he doesn't, and also, you know, he's part of a generation that I'm sure we'll look back on properly once they've all gone and actually really appreciate them, because you know, he was around at the same time as the four of the greatest players to have ever played the game. You know, and other greats like Stan, Berdych, Gasquet, Tsonga, Ferrer. I mean, there's so many of them you could mention from that time period that were utter greats. I mean, if we had a Ferrer or a Berdych or a Tsonga or a Cilic as well, I can't even forget Cilic.
There's so many of them.
Well.
There's so oh my god.
Well, I mean, like, that is a generation of utterly brilliant tennis players that, like you said, will only properly appreciate after they've all gone of how great they all were. And for him to have been a part of that group of players, and then to have the longevity at the moment to be even a part of a group of these players. Yeah. I mean, full hats off to Monfils of what he's doing at the moment.
there were these like weird mini freakouts. There was the fear of the serve bot that, and when Mark Philippoussis made a Wimbledon final, which I think is actually when Federer got his first, it might have been against him. It was like, oh, is this going to be tennis? Are people going to watch that? Because it was, not particularly exciting to the viewer. There is the trend where it's just
Sampras was the big, as much as he was a great player, he was Pistol Pete. It was ace, and if it's not an ace, it'd be +3 forehand.
Yep.
That'd be it.
There was that, there was the like when they just would sit on the baseline and just bash away at it. And then that was like, you had all these particularly Eastern European players training at the same academies, playing the same style of baseline, just bash it up as hard as you can tennis. And everyone was like, oh, like is tennis becoming too homogenous? But you look at the games of the players that generation, and there's so much variety, and there's so much personality. And I think that we will go through another period of worry at some point. Oh, is the game all going to look just like this or just like that? Don't worry about it. There's a human element to the sport that's going to prevent it. And also there'll always be new and there'll always be next. And here we are with Minaur with a terrible first serve attempt, but he's up 40-15, so he can get away with it. He is not serving well at all.
No, but he's about to go 3-1 up in the lead, and right now, it doesn't matter if you're playing like crap. You're winning. It's all that matters.
I mean, so is the rest of his game just looking that good to you, or has the challenger had a real level drop?
I think it's game style. I think this is just purely game style. At the moment, Bellucci is just not getting the 3 points that he was getting against Tsitsipas and Medvedev. And he's currently been dominated from the back of the court as well. So not only is Minaur not missing, he's also getting the ball back deep and aggressively. There is nothing at the moment that Bellucci can do to tackle it at this stage.
And so to Jake Davies' question in the chat, I do not know who is doing the stream for Alcaraz, but I know it's going to be worth a watch because it's on Talking Tennis, and it always is, baby.
Yeah. So whilst we've got very limited amounts of time, it feels like, given the way that Minaur is playing this match at the moment, Dallas, moving over to the tournament in your country.
Oh, yeah. I did catch some of that last night, by the way. I caught some of Opelka, Paul, and Paul looks fantastic. I mean, like, he is just a fantastic looking guy. But he is also on the tennis courts playing very, very well at a high level. Looks like he was in complete control of that match. Even in the first set tiebreaker, it just didn't feel like Opelka could do what he needed to do to win 2 sets against him.
Yeah. No, because I only saw the scoreline, and it looked as though that suffocating game that Paul can have against you, Opelka could just about deal with it in the first set, but it kind of looked like he fell away in the second after losing the tiebreaker.
Ghosty's just friggin'. He's just like a hate guy. So for my day job, Ghosty, I'm an American political consultant for my day job, and so I'm not. Yes, unfortunately, yeah. But when we're talking tennis, which is what we're doing today, things look golden. Things look grand. They look groovy. I find myself with a high degree of stress every single day at work, though.
I mean,
we can talk about that offline.
You're the countries that decided to be run by Elon Musk these days, so that's down.
Well, we were following the lead of Brexit, so thank you for that. We didn't start the fire, James.
No, but we at least put ours on. We haven't really put ours out, to be honest. We just got people saying, "Oh, the fire's fine. We can live with the fire." Like, no, put out the fire.
Oh, we get the same thing happening where people are like, oh, well,
the rise of fascism at Talking Tennis. No, there is no rise of fascism at Talking Tennis.
Is it safe to say that as a network, Talking Tennis is firmly anti-fascism? I think yes. So certainly, to my knowledge,
we're here pro tennis. That's what we are. We're pro tennis.
Let's see if Bellucci can get a hold here. No, that's another 2 break points coming up.
Yeah, I mean, so I didn't get a chance to, as you can probably imagine, being in Europe, I can only really watch the day session matches for Dallas. And I did catch a bit of Rude's match against Nishioka. And don't know. I'm quite liking this aggressive Casper Ruud that can now play on indoor hard courts. I mean, when I saw him in the draw, I thought he's just there for the paycheck and he's going to get duffed up by somebody first round. But no, he's into the semis, and I favour him to beat Minaur, and there's a chance that Ruud could actually win an indoor hardcourt event. And geez, what a shift in tectonic plates that would feel like.
It's great to see players in their mid and entering, late 20s, potentially not too long from now, evolve, right? And Ruud is showing that they're people. They're not static. Their games can change. That gives me hope for a Medvedev. It does not give me hope for a Tsitsipas. And in theory, he could do it. He just won't. But Medvedev, maybe he could find his game a little bit. Good on Ruud. It's been fun to watch there. I think I just have a bias against indoor tournaments. Just full disclosure. I just don't. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy playing on indoors. I don't enjoy watching it as much. It just feels like the essence of tennis is you should have to compete with the elements to some extent. And so if I had my way, both the ATP and the WTA would completely rework their calendars so they had a tiny, 1 month long indoor season, and that would be it for the whole year. And they would just kind of chase the weather besides that. But then again, I would also move the Australian Open to March because it would make more sense. Yeah. And I would start the year off with an Asia swing. So I would do things differently if I was the czar of tennis, which shan't be happening.
It just seems bizarre that the season starts and then 2 weeks later you have one of the 4 biggest tournaments of the year take place. It's like, whoa, we really run into this quite quickly.
Yeah. So actually, James, interesting point that Sean Powers made in the chat that Medvedev's game is, because of he relies so much on movement, might not age well. Do you agree with that assessment, or do you think there's stuff that he can do to kind of prolong his career beyond just staying as fast as he's been historically?
It's aggression. He needs to be the aggressor. If he doesn't become the aggressor, then he's just gonna fall away. And I suspect by the time he's in his 30s, he'll be just about staying in the world's top 50 and maybe getting to the quarters of a 215 every now and then, and that being about it, because he just won't have the pace to be able to live with the aggression of the majority of the tour.
Yeah.
It sounds horrible. It really does sound horrible to say. And given what Medvedev has given to the game, certainly in the last 5 years, and the amount of Grand Slam finals he's been to, and the fact that he's a US Open champion, I would want so much more. But unless he makes drastic changes now, we're probably going to see him retire in 2 years' time. Because he won't want to go to that sort of place. I don't think he, as we gathered when he lost the Australian Open to Nadal in 22.
Yeah,
he's not an Andy Murray. Who will happily grind a 3-hour match on round 1 at a 250 somewhere because he loves the game that much. That's not Medvedev. And if he's not winning titles, if he doesn't look like he's going to get deep in slams, he's just going to pack it in and go live in his lovely house in Monaco because that's all that he'll want to do.
Do you think that he'll have a second act as a coach, or do you think that he will do something? Will he be a commentator, or could you see him moving on to something else entirely? Because I kind of get the sense that he'll walk away.
I think he'll walk away. I don't see him sticking around really. I mean, I think of his generation, I don't really see any of them really wanting to stick around. I mean, maybe Casper Ruud could. Casper Ruud has quite a good commentary voice and may go into TV. But like Zverev, I think he'll be too toxic for a lot of TV networks.
I think that Saboff Wild might hire him as a coach.
Does he watch Wield? Jesus Christ.
That's a dig. That's a dig at everybody involved, just to be clear.
And get Bashlasvili as his assistant. I mean, let's go the whole hog there.
The ATP's got to figure some of that stuff out, man. But
I think Zverev, I think would go into the dark backness. I could see Tsitsipas maybe becoming like the Greek Davis Cup captain, but that being as far as that he would go. But
I can see it. Yeah. I think Ruud seems like he has the mentality to be he's clear-eyed, he's honest. He's honest about his own game, I would say to a fault sometimes, in that you kind of have to be a little nuts. You have to believe you're a little better than you actually are to take that final jump to get to number one. And I think it's a thing that holds him back at times on the tour, but I think would be really useful as a coach. Casper Ruud is not going to sugarcoat a player's game. You know, he's going to be very Scandinavian, very direct.
No, indeed, and what's also interesting is nasal is the new trend that seems to pop up that Ruud and Alcaraz may have started this week around nasal strips on noses, playing in matches.
You know, that goes back to the American football player, Jerry Rice. So this is, fashion is cyclical. Look up Jerry Rice. Famously used to have the nose widener. All right. So the comeback starts now, folks. Bellucci serving at 1-5. He's got him right where he wants him. The old rope-a-dope tactic. Or we will be getting out of here shortly. One of those two things, though.
So again, sorry, I have my headphones off. I didn't want to hear you eat. I didn't want you to hear me eating.
James is hungry for more tennis, folks.
I am actually. I mean, this is a situation where actually, I think Bentich could be over soon as well. It's pretty low up to Bentich at the moment.
You see these flashes from Bellucci, and I also, in all seriousness, really would like to see more tennis. I just don't understand. I mean, I do understand what we're seeing, right? His first serve, which needed to be very high, is not. And it all kind of stems from so he's battling for basically every service game, he's not getting them. And so if he can't generate easy holds, he doesn't have quite what it takes to pressure de Minaur, despite his also subpar first serve percentage, was at 37% for the match, still below 50 in set 2. And so it all stems from that first serve.
I think we could see Bellucci getting a love service hold here.
Big. Yeah. Contradicting everything I just said, but correct. We're just in time to make me wrong one more time. Thank you, Bellucci.
He wants to go to the chair at least one more time. And he will go to the chair at least one more time.
Wait, hold on. Did the comeback just start?
Well, bookmark this, clip this, whatever you do at home. This could be the comeback. Probably not, but it could be the comeback.
Don't call it a comeback, but actually don't call it a comeback. It's probably not going to happen. But it might. But it might.
But it won't.
The pessimism coming from this stream.
I don't think. Look, I'm going big. I think he'll get a couple of points on the next service game. Probably no more than that, but a couple of points. I'm going big on it. I'm going big.
I think that he's going to squeeze in one more tweener. I don't think that he's getting off this court without at least one more trick shot. Because at this point, in all likelihood, he's not going to win the match. It would benefit him if he were to walk away from this with a sponsor. I think that he's done enough to get one. I hope he's done enough to get one, and in all likelihood will. But that between the legs shot that you sent around or flagged in set 1, that's going to get some virality, right? There are going to be people that are going to see that. If he gets one more, does that increase his likelihood of making a little cash, getting a sponsor for that snazzy bandana? Yeah, probably. He's got tattoos to fill in, man. He needs the money. I get it.
And also, I mean, let's talk about the fact that de Minaur here is about to serve to make his, to make it back-to-back Rotterdam final appearances. I mean, that's pretty good going for the Australian, really. I mean, and you wouldn't expect indoor hard courts to be the place that he would do his best sort of tennis, but it certainly is at the moment.
Is he the king of Rotterdam?
No, I think there's an actual. They do it. Who would be the king of Rotterdam? Monfils. He's won it twice.
Okay. I think actually that somebody has won it 4 times, but I know that 6 players had won it back to back, and Monfils was one.
It tends to be a tournament that's won by one player once. That's what I've seen.
Oh, Bellucci getting on the board, continuing the comeback, the much anticipated comeback. Oh, Sean Power, de Minaur is the new Rude. Yeah, it's. Is there a person on this stream right now that thinks that he's going to win a major? Because it ain't me.
What, de Minaur?
Yeah.
Yeah. As much as I think he will get he will get to a semi-final of a slam at one point. Sure. I'd be very surprised if he got to a final of one.
Yeah, is there a person on this stream that thinks that de Minaur is going to beat Alcaraz after Alcaraz unfortunately gives my Polish compatriot Hurkacz the work here?
What do you think Alcaraz is going to see off Hurkacz quite easily?
I do. I think so. Yeah. I think we're at straight sets.
Oh, interesting.
Although Alcaraz's level has been a little spotty this year, but yeah, I don't see it.
I mean, just because it's an indoor hard, I'm always skeptical of Alcaraz, and I'm saying that, and they'll probably end up winning the tournament quite easily now. But because but it's I see it certainly 60% Alcaraz, 40% Hurkacz in my estimate.
Do you feel like, or from what you've seen, are these courts playing as fast as you would expect from an indoor hard, or have they been a little slower?
A little slower, I must say.
Yeah.
I don't. It has felt. I was in Montpellier last week, for the finals weekend, and I noticed that they seem to have slowed down the indoor hard courts a little bit. There was a bit more sand in the paint. It feels like.
Yeah.
As the ball's not running through the air as quickly as it used to.
And so you think about that, and the courts have slowed down a little bit, and then the ball is slowing down faster, and I just don't see a world in which, with those conditions, Alcaraz doesn't pull it off.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, because he's a bit like Iga when it comes to slower hard courts are his bread and butter, really.
Right.
For doing well.
Now Bellucci at 1530. Let's see if he can get a break point here. Wow, the momentum shift is feeling palpable. I can't hear the crowd, but I can feel them. So they're thinking, hey, might we get a bit more tennis here? And liking it. Okay.
Demonor says, hold that for what you're playing around that. I plan to be off this court and in a Rotterdam eatery somewhere in the next couple of hours.
Is there a cuisine or a dish that Rotterdam is known for in particular?
I guess if it was going to be anything, it would be seafood related.
Oh yeah, that's a beautiful serve from.
Oh, they do. I did watch a video about Rotterdam. It was they do these waffles. These really good waffles, and also there's a restaurant they have there where everything's fermented.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Like everything is fermented.
Okay.
Well, cheese.
We've got a match point. Cheese. We've got a match point for de Minaur.
If it goes, backhand by Bellucci, forehand by de Minaur, backhand by Bellucci, long it goes, and Alex de Minaur makes it back-to-back Rotterdam ATP 500 finals, defeating Bellucci quite comfortably 6-3 or 6-1, 6-3, and with an unbelievably impressive performance. Congratulations, Bellucci, to the neck. We can't go away from the fact that Bellucci has had one hell of a weekend. Also one hell of a week, really.
And I'll tell you this much, James.
Beating Tsitsipas, but just coming up short against the world number.
James, I think I might have lost you on the stream. So I'll just say this. While Rotterdam might be known for them, de Minaur did not waffle at all on the court today. That was an emphatic victory. Very, very solid. Solid performance. He didn't look like a world beater. This first serve needs to come up if he's going to win this thing in the next round.
Sorry, Zach. Yep. I went there a bit. Back now.
Welcome. I'm going to say a really good waffle pun while you're off. I'm not sure if you heard. I want to make sure to slide that in there. Yeah, I think. Look, de Minaur looks solid. He looks like him. He's got a ultra consistent game. He is not going to make it easy for anybody. First serve percentage needs to come up, and I think in all likelihood will. Bellucci showed flashes today of what allowed him to make the run. James, you pointed out the styles were not in his favor. Would have liked to see a little bit more from the challenger. Would have liked to see a few. I mean, we got some great moments, some interesting points, some flair. But it was never close, and it never felt like it was going to be as much as we hoped it would be.
No, and it's the styles that was the key issue here. And yeah, it's just it's like I said, it's been a great week for Bellucci. The wins that he's got, the level that he's showing.
Yeah.
But it's now for him to really push on from here. I mean, we're going into okay, so we're sticking on some hard courts at the moment. And by the looks of it, he probably will have to qualify for Indian Wells still. But certainly, he's good on clay courts, and that's going to be a good chunk of the season. It's about to rock up it's going to come upon us very quickly. And it's very possible that Bellucci could be looking into the top 50 by certainly the midpoint of the clay court swing if he keeps on playing the way he is.
Yeah. It turns out my waffle pun, it went over like somebody cut the famous Rotterdam cheese. So it didn't land as intended. What can you do? But it's very important to say we've got another match coming up today on Talking Tennis with John and Fergus, two of my absolute favorite commentators. That Fergus, that's a talented youngster. Funny guy. Good tennis player too.
I'm just thinking, Zach, just because at the moment it's 5-1 Belinda Bencic, do you want to just stick on just for a little bit longer while we cover the end of that match?
Let's get crazy. Why, James? It's always a pleasure. I'd love to hang out. Would love to keep watching. Would love to see what the chat has to say as we shift on over there. Let me just update my stream as we do so.
Because Belinda right now is serving for the match, serving for the championship. And just because I did not expect this to be completed in under an hour and a half at the moment.
This is extra time. Can we get? Are we going to get a little wacky here? Okay, cool.
Yeah. So all of a sudden we're now talking about Bencic versus Kruger in the final. Jane's in the chat saying boo. Oh, okay.
So Ashland's dad, Freddie, is actually a bit of a icon of American culture as well.
Is he?
Of sorts.
How is he a bit? Go on, tell me. How is he a bit of an icon?
There is a horror movie, and Freddy Krueger is the killer in it. It's not her actual dad, so I'm being a little silly. So sorry, Jade. Jade, sorry.
I should have seen that coming. I was obviously in two minds at that point.
Let's see if Bencic can close this out, or if Kruger can get back into it and extend this match a little bit. Oh my God, we should switch over to a dart stream. Is there anything going on at the end of this?
There's no
2
darts.
points away from the title.
No darts, unfortunately, at the end of this. Got a good backhand from Belinda. Up the line from Belinda. Perfectly placed from Belinda. 30-15. I mean, it's been very dominant when you look at the scoreline, certainly for the sets 2 and 3, 6-1, and what potentially will be another 6-1 set. To say that Belinda Bencic has come back from childbirth. Has had a child, raised it for a number of months. To say that in the first few tournaments back, she's going to be winning a WTA 500 event, and in Abu Dhabi as well, which has a very strong field, is a really good indication of where she's going to be heading back to.
Absolutely. Championship point coming up right now. 40-15 for Belinda Bencic. We've got a pink ensemble against a red ensemble.
We do. A6 is doing well at the moment. Minaur's into the final, and Bencic is about to win Abu Dhabi.
And just remember, folks, they've got an excellent shoe product, but the strings are trash. Listen to Shoe Dr. Zach, which is actually a different person, not me. And there it is. There it is, folks. She drops her racket, arms to the air. There's a baby in the stands cheering.
Well,
what a special moment.
Yeah, and I see the point there. Well done, Belinda Bencic. Wow, WTA 500 champion, only a few tournaments back after the pregnancy. What a display from her, really. This is certainly a player that looks like she's going to be back on the main back in the big time on the main court for for real.
It's great to see. It's great. I mean, there's nothing easier to root for than a player coming back from the birth of a child. I think it's something we want to see that success for mothers on the tour, and we've seen it some in the past, and I hope that we see it more in the future. Huge congratulations to her team, her family. Really, really special moment.
I'm just taking on some water there. As you say, big win. Yes, she had a big win yesterday, taking out who was the defending champion and number 6 in Rybakina. and then tops that off today with winning the championship, coming back and seeing off the challenger wild card as well, not having a ranking that would be a big high enough for her to enter the draw normally. No, and kind of gives us our first winner of the weekend.
Yeah, second Abu Dhabi title, 9th career title. Okay, the good stuff.
Yeah, she won.
So, do we have any predictions, by the way, of who some of the other winners this weekend are going to be?
Ooh, okay. So,
by the way, sorry, but the stats: 58 unforced errors from Kruger. That's not ideal. You know, well, don't do that.
Ouch! That's nasty.
No,
Jesus, that's nasty. 58.
Look at how cute this little kid is, by the way, with the binky. That's a dripped out baby. They're not going to remember this, but the pictures will last for forever. And what a special moment.
Oh, yeah.
That's that's like a comically cute baby. All babies are cute, but like, let's be real. They're not all equally cute. That is an unusual, that's a particularly cute baby.
I was like, what's happening here then?
I believe that baby will have above average hand-eye coordination in all likelihood.
He'll also be probably sick to death of tennis.
Yeah. Well, I think, like Agassi and Steffi Graf's kid, I want to say that one of them plays baseball instead.
Yeah, it's always a thing actually when it comes to like, sons and daughters of famous tennis players. Like how much, you see some that, we see that, Leighton Hewitt's son, Cruz, is now going into the tennis game. But like, there must be other players, must be other kids where like, I just don't want to do anything to do with tennis. Like I'm becoming an accountant. I'll do something completely different.
So Federer's kids, are they? I mean, he's got 4 of them. Very Swiss, very efficient. 2 daughters, 2 sons. Do they play?
Ooh,
we'll start hearing about them soon, probably, if they do.
Yeah. I know, because they are getting older, those ones. But yeah, you're asking about predictions for the rest of the week, weren't you?
Yes.
Rest of the weekend. So I would say, as I need to make sure I have a double check to see what's happening in Cluj. Bronzetti is through to the final after a retirement from Siniakova. In that one there. So I would favour, as I'm just trying to get the schedule to load on my phone. I would say, Potapova won the first match. Bronzetti versus Potapova. I would favour Potapova in that match to win in Cluj. In Rotterdam, I agree with you. I can't look past Alcaraz winning it. And for Dallas, I'm gonna go for my Scandinavian man, Casper Ruud.
Get real, James.
To win his first indoor hardcourt title. I'm going for it. I'm nailing my 2% Scandinavian blood to the mask here.
I'd like to make a bet. I'd like to bet you £1 sterling that Tommy Paul is the champion instead of not Casper Ruud. And if neither of them wins, then like fine, then no money's exchanged. I will bet you £1 British pound that Tommy Paul is the champion, not Casper Ruud in Dallas.
Make it a $5 and we'll go for it.
Let's get wild. Okay, does Venmo work? Is that a thing in the UK?
I've got PayPal.
Oh, we'll figure out how to exchange the currency.
Yeah. What can we do is we could say it's a donation to a charity of choice. How's that?
Yes, that's perfect. A donation. So this is a charitable endeavor. You can thank us for that if you want. We're not heroes. We're just guys doing charitable work. And I'll be rooting for Tommy Paul. You'll be rooting for Casper, and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll go for that. We're probably going to get clicked and put on our social media now on that one. Either $5 or £5 to a charity of choice. And like we say, but if neither Tommy Paul or Casper Ruud wins, then we'll just do an equal amount each, like $250 each.
Yes, I think that's perfect. So that way, no matter what, money going to charity, that's a good thing. Yeah. I think this is kind of a fun tradition for our streams, actually. And so, maybe we keep that rolling. Maybe
we'll take that. Right, we better wrap it up now. As I don't know, people got places to be, and all the matches are over, and they've got to get ready for potentially a cracker tonight, maybe with her catch. Her catch against Alcaraz, and then there's also Minaur versus Casper Ruud, and Tommy Paul versus the surprise of Dallas actually, and Denis Shapovalov He's had an absolutely brilliant run this week.
Is he back? Is he back? Do we think? Is he back?
I mean, he won an indoor hard court title at the back end of last year. I think until we start seeing it at like Masters events and whatnot, before we can start saying he's back. But it's good to see Chapo winning, which hasn't been the case for the last 18 months or so.
Yeah. To the chat, as always, it was a fun one. Thank you. You're the ones that make it fun, particularly in matches where it's 1 and 2. So we appreciate you. And for anybody who's watching or listening that has not yet liked and subscribed, just do it. Just do it. You liked it. You had fun. It's helpful. Please do.
Yeah, do subscribe. Thank you very much for joining, and goodbye.
Later, James.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.